Hey guys, DC Network here, coming at you with another video. So back in the early 2010s, Stu Snyder was the president of Cartoon Network, and back at that time, I remember a lot of people were saying, oh man, Stu Snyder's awful, he's the worst president of Cartoon Network, and that was because of mainly the fact that he brought live action to the network. But looking back on it, was Stu Snyder honestly, was he really that bad? At the time, I never really understood the criticism towards him. Like, I understand people were upset about live action coming to Cartoon Network, but when you take a step back and really think about it, it honestly makes sense why they did it. They did it because of the success of live action sitcoms on Nickelodeon and on Disney Channel. If you look back in the early 2000s, the mid 2000s, just throughout the 2000s entirely, honestly, Nickelodeon had so many successful sitcoms. They had Drake and Josh, they had Zoe 101, they later on had Victorious, just to name a few. Then on the Disney side of things, they had the Sweet Life series, of Zack and Cody, and then Sweet Life on Deck. They had all these other shows like Hannah Montana, they had Ravens, That's So Raven I think it was called. They had all these shows that were all live action and were all extremely successful. It really makes sense for Cartoon Network to then say, if our competitors are doing this so well and they're having so much success because of it, why don't we try to replicate that and do it in our own way, which we think is better? Obviously, when it came down to execution and the actual shows that they aired on the channel, it didn't work out. The shows, for the most part, weren't good. Majority of them did not even last more than a couple of months. The only two that had a long run on the channel were Dude, What Would Happen and Destroy, Build, Destroyed. In addition to Level Up kind of had a semi-long run later on towards the end of the live action era on Cartoon Network. But besides that, if we take a step back and look and say, okay, Stu Snyder, he brought live action to Cartoon Network, but if we take a step back and look at the shows that he actually greenlit for the channel, he really did a great job when it came to the actual cartoons we got on the network. This is when we saw action really take off on the channel with shows like Generator Rex, The Secret Saturdays, Symbionic Titan, and obviously the plethora of Ben 10 series, just to name a few. And he's also the person who greenlit Adventure Time regular show, The Amazing World of Gumball, and Steven Universe. It was him who greenlit all these shows that we look back so fondly on today that premiered in the early 2010s and in the late 2000s, yet I feel like his reign at Cartoon Network really gets clouded by the fact that he brought live action to the channel, which yes, I understand why people don't like that, but when it comes to a business perspective, it wasn't a bad decision per se. The decision itself makes sense. Like I said, Nickelodeon and Disney at the time were so successful when it came to live action sitcoms, it only made sense that Cartoon Network wanted a piece of that pie. The problem is that when it came to the actual shows they produced and the execution of it, that's where they failed. I feel like if we got like a Sweet Life of Zack and Cody or a Drake and Josh, a show that was such a big hit on Cartoon Network and it was live action, then people wouldn't really be talking that negatively about the live action era at Cartoon Network. It's just because the shows we actually got weren't good that people talk about it so negatively. But when it comes to the actual cartoons we were getting at the time, like I said before, for the most part, they were fantastic. They're some of my favorite series to have ever aired on the network, and they would have never premiered if it wasn't for Stu Snyder. As we saw, once he left, that's really when Cartoon Network went in a downward spiral. And I'm not saying he's the best president that Cartoon Network's ever had. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying he wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. And when you saw what happened once Christina Miller took over, it's kind of the cliche of you didn't know what you had in Stu Snyder until it was gone. Anyways, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about Stu Snyder. Do you guys still think he was a bad president at Cartoon Network, or do you kind of look back more fondly on the era now due to the great cartoons that we got at the time? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.